Jai Swaminarayan. Today let's read the 9th verse from the 2nd Gadhadā. This passage is titled, Conviction of God, realizing God to be like other avatars is blasphemy. Avatars referred to dissensions of God. So let's dive into the nuance. On Shravan Siddhi the 14th, Samvat 1878, or the 12th of August 1821, Swami Sri Sahajanandji Maharaj was sitting on a small silken embroidered cloth in front of the mandir of Sri Vasudev Narayan in Dada Khachar Darbar in Gadhadā. Anand Swami had just performed his puja. Sriji Maharaj was wearing a red surval and dagli made from kinkab. He had tied a golden bordered orange reto around his head and had also tied a brocheted, oh my goodness, that's a difficult word for me, a brocheted shailu around his waist. Anyway, some kind of decorated article of apparel. Not the main point of this passage. On his shoulder was a sky blue colored reto, and tied around his wrist were several rakdis. At that time, an assembly of munis, as well as devotees from various places, had gathered before him. Thereupon, Muktanand Swami suggested, "Let us sing devotional songs." Sriji Maharaj said, "Let us talk about God." He then continued, "The path of jnana should be understood, the path of knowledge should be understood in such a way that one does not malign the form of God in any way. In fact, one should not worry if at some time or another one has transgressed God's commands, but one should never malign the form of God. If one does disobey God's commands, then one can still be freed from that sin by praying to God. However, there are no means of release for one who has maligned the form of God. Therefore, one who is wise should certainly abide by God's commands to the best of one's ability. However, one should also intensely maintain the strength of conviction in God's form, i.e., I have attained the very form of God who reigns supreme, who forever possesses a divine form, and who is the avatari, the one who descends, the cause of all of the avatars. If a person realizes this, then even if they may have left the satsang fellowship, this spiritual community, their love for God's form will not diminish. In fact, even though they are out of satsang at present, ultimately, when they leave their body, they will go to God's Akshardham and stay near God. On the other hand, a person may be in the satsang fellowship at present, and they may even be abiding by the commands prescribed in the scriptures. But if their conviction of God is not firm, then when they leave the body, they will either go up to the realm of Brahma, the creator, or to the realm of some other deva, deity, but they will not go to the abode of Purushottam Bhagwan. Therefore, one should realize the manifest God that one has attained to forever possess a divine form and to be the avatari, the cause of all of the avatars. If, however, one does not realize this, and instead realizes God to be formless or like the other avatars, then that is regarded as committing blasphemy against God. Now consider the following. Arjun's spiritual strength was based on his conviction of God, whereas Yudhishthira's source of strength was his faith in the words of the scriptures. Then, when the Mahabharat war was fought, Sri Krishna Bhagwan said to Arjun, as the 66th verse of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva bhabebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchachaha. The meaning of this verse is, O Arjun, abandon all of the various types of dharma and surrender only unto me. I shall deliver you from all sins. Do not lament. By keeping faith in these words, Arjun never became disheartened, despite committing countless misdeeds during the war. He maintained firm faith in God. Conversely, Yudhishthir had not committed any sins whatsoever, and yet, because he had faith in the words of the scriptures, he felt, I shall never attain liberation. Even when all of the rishis, Vyasji, and even Sri Krishna Bhagwan himself attempted to explain to him, still he did not forsake his remorse. Only when Sri Krishna Bhagwan took him to Bhishma and had him listen to Bhishma's discourse on the true meaning of the words of the scriptures did he develop some faith. Nevertheless, he did not become totally free of doubt like Arjun. Thus, one who is intelligent should intensely maintain spiritual strength based on the conviction of God. Even the slightest strength based on this conviction will protect one from great dangers. Shri Krishna Bhagwan has also said in the 40th verse of the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Svalpam aprayasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. This verse means, if one has the slightest strength based on the conviction of God, it will protect one from great calamities. For example, when Arjun fought in the Mahabharat war, he encountered many types of grave dangers in the form of adharma, the lack of righteous duty. Yet, he was spared from those dangers because of his conviction of God. Therefore, only he can be called an ekantik bhakta, true or absolute devotee, whose strength is based on the conviction of God more than anything else. And only he can be called a staunch satsangi, a participant in a sangha of truth, in an assembly of true spiritual seekers. The Srimad Bhagavat also mentions this predominantly, i.e., if one strays from the dharma proclaimed in the Shrutis and Smritis, one should not worry. However, one should never abandon the refuge of God. Then some may feel, if we propound such talks, dharma will become irrelevant. But this principle is not intended to make dharma irrelevant. Rather, its purpose is as follows. Places, times, actions, company, mantras, scriptures, preachings, and devas can be of two types, pure and impure. Of these, if one were to encounter the impure, and if, as Dada Khachaur's Darbar in Gadhadā, oh, that's funny, that's the start of the next verse, or the next passage. I skipped a page. Of these, if one were to encounter the impure, and if, as a result, some difficulties were to arise, then, if one has the firm conviction of God, one would never fall from the path of liberation. Conversely, if there is a deficiency in one's conviction of God, then whenever one falters from dharma, one would feel, I am destined to fall into narak, which is the lower abodes. Therefore, only one whose strength is based on the conviction of God is a staunch satsangi. Without this, one is merely appreciative of satsang. Even the scriptures mention that only one who firmly maintains the conviction of God is called an ekantik bhakta. Then Shriji Maharaj said, If Narad, the Sanakadik, and Devas such as Brahma and others were to hear the discourses being presently delivered in satsang, they would say, "We have never heard such talks before, and we shall never hear them again." These discourses can be described as na bhuta na bhavishyati, which means literally, never before have there been such talks, and never again will be there such talks. Although these talks are extremely subtle, even a person of average intelligence can understand them. It is as if these talks are personified. Therefore, there is no limit to the merits of one who, at this present time, has a conviction of satsang. Realizing this, those who are satsangis should consider themselves to be totally fulfilled. Moreover, a person who has profound love for God, regardless of whether they understand this discourse, has nothing left to do. If, on the other hand, one does not have such profound love for God, then one should definitely realize the glory of God. Thus, one who is wise should contemplate upon this discourse, understand it, and then take extremely firm refuge in God. This principle alone is the very essence of all essences. Thus we conclude the 9th passage from the 2nd Gadhadā. So thank you for listening. Jai Swaminarayan.